Today's podcast is sponsored by Seth David Films. Looking for a luxury wedding videography company in the Salem, Portland, Eugene area? Look no further than Seth David Films. Their team of experts is dedicated to capturing your special day in stunning high-definition quality. With years of experience and an eye for detail, they will create a personalized wedding film that you'll cherish for a lifetime. From intimate elopements to grand celebrations, they offer a variety of packages to fit your needs and budget. Contact them today to learn more about their services and how they can make your wedding day unforgettable.
It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
Nothing for it. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
I love you.
I know.
Go! Get to the chopper!
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
I see dead.
Milk was a bad choice.
Hello and welcome to How to Be a Movie Snob. We are coming at ya with a doozy. I feel like I say that every week, but this one is unlike anything we've ever done, and this one might be the most rated R-ish movie we've ever done, for sure. We have done The Shining, so we've done rated R, not our first time, but this one goes to the next level, so viewer listening...
Briefly NC-17.
Yeah, oh, was it?
They had to argue it. They had to appeal that rating.
That,
R, so.
I mean, it's questionable. I'm not going to lie. It's definitely questionable. Our movie today is... Who's going to sing it? Who's going to sing it? No?
No.
Blue Velvet.
I don't have it in me today.
Blue Velvets.
If you didn't ask, I might have.
Oh, see, it would have done it naturally.
No pressure.
I forgot the tune. That's the only reason why I didn't do it right now. It comes throughout the movie. This is the David Lynch, quote unquote, standard kind of. A lot of people say this is his quintessential film. We can argue that later. It came out in the year 1986. Mariah was a teenager back then.
Not quite.
Pat wasn't born for another 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fact check.
Fact check. No, this is a good one. And I went into it not knowing what I was getting into, and I think that's the same for maybe all of us. Or did you kind of know, Mariah?
Yeah. I had a very loose feeling of what it was going to be, and some of it was, and some of it was what?
It was not. So I was like, okay.
Yeah. My Lynch awareness was primarily Twin Peaks and then glimpses of things. But this movie, I was pretty young, and it was on TV.
Oh, what?
And I watched, I don't know how.
Probably like 30 minutes of it because they had to cut the rest.
Right? What would they show with that?
It was like satellite or who knows.
Yeah,
but
that's
like
true. You guys
the
had
beginning
access
of
to
the
some
movie,
things.
I watched the very beginning. So the fire truck coming by in slow-mo.
Oh, yeah.
The waving. And then the dad dropping down, like having his heart attack, stroke, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And then the bugs. And I stopped watching. And but it was at the time pretty nightmarish, and I assumed the bugs had bit him, and it was some kind of feature with bugs.
Yeah.
That was the impression I got from the first 5 minutes of the movie that I saw.
Yeah.
And then but boy, that was wrong.
Yeah.
And then I finally saw the whole thing. I thought, wow, my little brain sure didn't know how to project out the rest of this movie. And I think that's fair.
It's best that you turned it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we were watching a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids thing with the whole ant scene for sure. I was like, oh, sweet, this is going to be fun.
Pretty weird. And then you kind of go, oh, it's pretty,
Yeah.
not subtle at the
Yeah,
same
no,
time.
it's very
So-
yes. Subtlety is not what this movie is. It's as subtle as
Well,
parasites.
it's just so weird that I think some of that stuff becomes subtle or not. You don't pick it up maybe right away because so many odd things have happened.
No.
But,
Okay,
anyway.
let's start out where we always start out with the plot with our summarizer, Mariah.
Here I am. So yeah, it starts out with this beautiful town, white picket fences,
Literally starts with a white picket fence. First shot.
Lumberton.
guy watering his lawn, has a episode of sorts, stroke-ish.
Yeah, not sure why I needed all certain things.
So his son has to come home. It's because his father has had whatever happened in the yard.
Yep.
And
Still not sure.
walking back from the hospital, he finds an ear. And he gets, super curious about this ear. Turns it into the detectives and then basically stalks them and comes up with his own detective work with the detective's daughter.
Yes. I have so many questions at the very front. Like, why did he go to that? Why did he go? Did he know them before? Like, they must be neighbors.
Well, he
Yes.
knew the daughter because they'd gone to high school
Because they
together.
lived in the. Well, I felt like they didn't actually
Yeah,
know each other that
I
well,
feel like
but
they
he
didn't know
lived
each
in,
other.
they lived in the same neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, but when he left from dropping off or from checking in or something, he said, "Tell Sandy I said hi."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
But
he
I
at least
just-
knew who she
it-
was.
Right.
To me, it was like it was the police officer that lived in his neighborhood, so that's who he knew.
Right. That makes
I
sense.
don't know why you necessarily, if you have an ear in a bag, you don't just give it to the first police officer.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, there's the
like,
one detective,
no, let
so
me
you
walk
take it to
around
the
with it.
detective, not
Well,
just
yeah,
some
but
Joe
like, you
schmo.
don't have to. Like,
Yeah.
I have to see this all the way to where it needs to go.
Yeah. Like,
And then, by the way, get a tour of the morgue,
it's so great, by
and
the
we'll
way.
talk about it.
I was like, this is small
There
town
was-
police officer. That's what this is. This is great.
Yeah.
And then the whole, I don't want you talking to anyone about it or asking me anymore about it. But once this is all done, I'll tell you all about
Everything.
it.
No,
Don't you worry.
no NDAs back then.
No.
Yeah, it was so. Yeah, and then as Jeffrey says in the middle of the movie, I'm in the middle of a mystery. Or whatever he said.
Subtle again.
It's a strange world.
yeah.
And meet some characters.
Meet some characters. Oh yeah, they meet Sandy. That was that. So wait, does he meet Sandy? Oh, because they're at the house.
He meets Sandy after he goes to try and get more info.
and
from the
then
detective.
she
'Cause
walks him
she's-
out.
She's hanging out in the yard.
But then
He
she
just
walks
kinda
with
like-
him because they're like walking together, telling him like, "Oh, I know more
Yeah,
than
she
you."
creeped up on him.
For
Yeah.
real. So it was She made the first move.
My detective dad talks really loud downstairs, and my bedroom's just right above. So I know everything that happened.
And I don't know you at all, so here's a whole lot of information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then where we then
Well, that
Oh.
leads to a lounge singer.
a lounge singer. Sneak first they
The
no
blue.
but they know
blue
about
lady.
do we know she's a lounge singer right away? Because first they say it's just one
No.
lady and then they
Wait.
sneak into the sneak into the house is first, then lounge singer, right?
Well, Sandy eventually is. He's like, we got to find out where she works, and
Oh,
she's
and-
like, well, I
That's
know where
right.
she works.
Oh,
She works
that's
at
right.
the Slow Club.
Great
But
name,
yes,
by
the
the way.
plan to break in happened before he knew where she worked. And then they went
Oh,
and
that's
saw
right.
her.
That's right.
And then
That makes
man,
sense.
then it takes like up to that point, I guess. Before, I'm gonna
It's like
screw
a
up our flow.
straightforward murder investigation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By the
and
kids.
it like I was pretty on board with like the interest, right? Like it was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, this is
Kind of fun.
Kind of
dumb,
Hardy
dumb
Boys.
teenagery
Yeah.
kind
Oh.
of vibes. Like I want to be a fake cop a little bit, and also like I found this ear. I want to know what the heck's up with this ear I found. So I
Man,
kind of got all that,
yeah.
and then it's just like ratchets up so heavily.
So quick. So quick.
It takes a turn real fast.
I feel like as soon as like young Laura Dern is in it, I feel like, oh, this is like Breakfast Club and every John Hughes movie ever. It feels like that feeling. This is an 80s feel-good movie. And, oh, no.
No,
This
just
is
kidding.
not. But yet it still is. Like, every time the day scenes are happening, it feels like that 80s, like John Hughes movies.
Picturesque.
real juxtaposition.
Right?
Between,
Oh,
Or like, it's like Pleasantville.
nice.
Right. But if Pleasantville also had, sadomasochistic murder subplot.
Well,
I
I mean, I feel like that was there. If you read between the lines in Pleasantville, I feel like that was there. Yeah.
The
color.
bugs, the symbolism.
The color
of the
was not
bugs,
for the sex;
insects.
it was for the murders. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what Reese Witherspoon's character couldn't figure out.
Yeah, so Jeffrey and Sandy actually find a way to break in. He pretends to be a bug man, and people
More
are just like,
symbolism.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
And comes back after seeing her sing Blue Velvet at the Slow Club, and is a little bit entranced by her.
Mm-hmm.
Not my favorite rendition of Blue Velvet, I gotta say.
No, not
sorry.
Good.
Breaks
Not
in.
good.
Gets caught. Well, after he hears some shenanigans, gets caught.
Molested?
He gets molested.
Yeah, that's very questionable.
Aggressively seduced?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then
I'm not an
gets
expert, so I don't know what to classify that as. So,
assaulted.
Yeah.
yep.
And
By an unhinged woman
Yeah.
in a blue robe.
And it brings him back time and again. Oh, it's so okay. Yeah. And so then we gotta get Frank into this. This plot's
so
more.
Then Frank comes.
Yeah,
right.
like-
He's got to run back in. Frank comes and assaults her.
And he watches.
And he watches. And then she doesn't want him to leave. Somehow that becomes a weird, I don't know, codependent thing right away.
This movie's so
and then he keeps coming back.
strange.
And through that
It's got
learns
us
more and more about the
tongue-tied
underworld.
because we don't know how to describe these things that are going on
Well,
in a
and
way
honestly,
that's
it's a little,
Well, yeah.
it's not fun to describe.
no
Plot twists and new characters introduced that.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, basically he gets pulled into Dorothy, the lounge singer's world,
Which
learns
is
more about
really
what is
awful.
going on with her, which is really her being abused by Frank,
Who
who
kidnapped
has
his
her husband
son.
and son kidnapped.
Yeah.
I feel like he took
Here
a
comes from.
pretty big leap to figure that out. Like, yes, she figured out she was married by looking at the framed marriage certificate underneath the couch, and then found like a top or some sort of child's toy.
Oh, the hat.
And is like, she has a husband and a child, and they were kidnapped. They're holding them hostage. Like, well, how do you?
Well, I mean, she kind of heard that on the phone. There was like
Yeah.
Donnie and Little Donnie. I mean, I kind of that was
Sure,
fine. It was very convenient for her to tape the marriage certificate on the back of the family portrait, and then hide it under the couch. But yeah, so he and Sandy are trying to solve this mystery together, but he gets getting more and more pulled into the
Oh.
dark world, and Sandy's
The light.
falling more in love with him, apparently.
Poor Mike.
Robin's around.
Until it all comes to a head, and
There's
Frank
a naked
sees
woman in
his
the
end.
front yard, and then everything goes sideways. I guess it already went sideways.
Yeah, the joyride was pretty sideways.
Yeah. Oh, all of it. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I assume that's kind of enough.
That's
We
kind of
kinda-
enough. Yeah. There's some.
So many things happen.
Yeah, the juxtaposition between the upper world and the lower world, and I think we're going to jump into that a lot. I assume. So,
Well, that's the Lynchian.
yes, the linchpin, if you
Quality
will, the
of this
linchpin of the
movie.
movie.
The unseen.
You see what I did there? It's a linchpin.
Yes,
Now you
get
get it because it like holds the movie together.
Uh-huh.
And his name's David Lynch. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
Zach. Move on.
Crickets. Speaking of insects.
Bugs.
Okay, first reactions. We got to go there because this is the bonkers part. When I started watching this at night, I was like, what did Mariah get me into? Because
Oh yeah, I was just pushing.
I was like,
I mean, yeah, I wanted to see it.
oh, yeah, you didn't want to see it,
Well,
but
I did the final vote because like I said, I only seen that beginning, and I thought this is some horror bug movie, and it was not that at all.
And I thought it was going to be like almost like symbols throughout the whole thing, like a like Tree of Life, or maybe a Tim Burton movie where you just have these weird like pictures of things, like, you know, that are constantly going back and forth. But that was it. It was like the intro and the outro, and the rest was it. Then it was just like the daytime and the nighttime, and then that was the big like pulling factor. So it felt so weird to start with that obvious. This is what the story's about, are these symbols to start with. So that was very weird
But it's very him, you know, he's
right.
pretty obvious, but he definitely likes to throw in the dark, strange noir vibe.
Which I think when it's made for TV, like Twin Peaks,
right,
that's more my speed.
Yeah.
Than this one, which is like, no, we're going full on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty hard. A movie is hard when you watch, you know, a woman get pretty brutally assaulted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh boy.
And you don't know where she's at mentally, because they make her between being abused and enjoying, and then a perpetrator herself, and and
it's all kinds of unhealthy.
One of the biggest problems, I feel like they went too quickly into it and then too quickly out of it.
Yeah, you don't really get a glimpse of maybe what state she was in before she got caught up in all of this. All you see is the end when it's resolved. And
I'm supposed to believe that she's fine?
She seems to be all together and just living her life with her cute kid.
No happy ending on this story. Come on, there's got to be counseling. We got to like, there's going to be some messed up things. Oh my gosh.
There apparently was a 4-hour cut of this movie, which had more of those scenes of us seeing her deteriorate, like emotionally.
Yeah.
Like the longer her husband has been kidnapped, and a whole like why they all know each other in the first place. You know,
must have crossed Frank in
a lot of that was just kind of cut. Because I mean, like, did it matter to you?
No.
This is, you know,
no.
It didn't. Yeah. To me, it was like, oh, these people.
No, we created our own backstory, and
no, that's fair.
Like, seedy stuff happens at nightclubs, and so
but for such a small,
you work in a seedy place,
seemingly pleasant small town, having this complete and total dark seedy club that exists with this gang of toughs that Frank has got, and then what's his name, his friend that they go to his place where the son
Benny? Was it Benny?
Henry? Benny?
The guy who's singing Into the Light?
Yeah.
Jack?
Jack? Ben. Yeah. What's his face from Quantum Leap?
Oh, yes, exactly right.
Exactly.
Was it Ken?
Yeah, I think it was Ben or Benny.
That guy.
So suave, Benny.
Yeah. So suave.
Yeah. Well, that was actually kind of, I mean, I called the nightclub seedy. When they were in there, it all looked actually like nice.
Just
it didn't seem scary.
Couple
it's
of
just like when they left.
A high schooler and a college kid can go in there and have a couple of Heinekens.
Have a couple of Heinekens.
Enjoy the show.
Yeah. Was really the drinking age something different in 1986? Oh.
So she's 17 tops, right?
I figure it's that small town. And you know, they're not really carding.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah.
We're all from small towns. But my town, maybe it's because of Oregon cards.
Old school small town.
80s was what? Mariah was already like in her 20s in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because if you look at like all the cars.
It's like it was yesterday.
The movies are all the cars are all pretty old. Like
good point. What era was this?
Was this?
That's a great question.
Oh yeah.
I assume it was
plus
just present
Blue
day.
Velvet set in like the songs from the 50s.
Sure.
So it maybe.
I mean, there weren't a ton of modern
no,
things.
You're right.
That's interesting.
So it's like, you know, vaguely 60s to 80s. You know, like
yeah, honestly, yeah. Kind of like Edward Scissorhands.
yeah,
You had
like,
no idea what year it is. It could be any year.
Right. Yeah.
You think what was interesting, and obviously the juxtaposition is like, you know, the surface is hiding what's underneath, and we're getting to glimpse Jeffrey, who's this good old college boy, getting a glimpse through that, you know, he's through the looking glass a little bit,
right,
and deciding, is this the person I want to become or not? But like, there was nothing else seedy about anything, really. Like the club, it didn't seem like they were scared to be in there. It seemed fine.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's true.
There's like the warehouse.
That was creepy though.
That it was like,
but you don't go inside.
It was like, and then right, and then the joyride, like, and then Benny's house, I guess, is creepy, but it was more because he kidnapped them there.
Yeah.
It wasn't this like, there wasn't like a part of the city that felt messed up, and I think maybe that was the point too.
Her apartment seemed messed up.
Yeah, and her elevator didn't work. I actually I liked that.
That set was pretty cool. Yeah.
Just that like story opportunity, or, you know, not opportunity, they made it, but like getting trapped on this one way in and that one way out thing, I thought was nice. But
and the club scene, speaking of just how like visually, they never, I don't think they did, but they always had the wide shot of Rosalini's character. I just forgot her character.
Dorothy.
My daughter's name. That's
What is her name?
What is her name? It's
Goodness.
something I like, but it also terrifies me. Oh yeah. It was far away, and it was like this red curtain behind them with like everyone else is kind of
and then
blue lit, and then they go back to him, and it's like a close up. It's like a medium shot. So
you have no sense of space. I think you get one other shot where you actually
right.
see Frank watching her at some point.
Yeah, but it feels like this is a mystery of something that we don't know. So maybe, seedy maybe, but maybe a nightclub like in general. But Pat, you've seen some things, man. I mean, you're usually at nightclubs. I mean, for me, I was like, I've never been to a nightclub. This is this seems super seedy.
They sing music and there's alcohol.
Oh, that's funny.
Heineken.
But yeah, but I think maybe that was also part of the point. Like, and I'm jumping way ahead when you realize who the well-dressed man is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Frank with terrible
eyebrows
and eyebrows.
A well-dressed man.
You ready for this embarrassing thing? I almost thought Laura Dern's character was going to be the bad guy because it was such a bad costume.
I thought maybe it was her dad.
Oh yeah, that would have been a good one too.
I thought maybe her dad was maybe in on some of it since the yellow man was a police officer.
Yeah, for sure.
But the you know, maybe it's just like it's barely hidden, you know, like yes, everything looks nice, but like it's not even a good disguise,
right?
So it's so close to the surface. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into that, but man,
it's so bad.
I think Lynch is just so good about making things. Yes, there's so much symbolism, but it's so obvious.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to think very hard to see it.
Yeah,
well,
but there's so much you can read into.
He need a disguise,
right?
Exactly right.
What sort of business were they conducting anyway? Did anyone ever figure out?
Meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So,
but it kind of didn't matter. I guess it just added a layer to the mystery. Like, and who's the well-dressed man? Also, Seth, as a gearhead, what did you think of his pulley system to unveil his camera so he could take pictures in the car?
Dope.
Oh, right.
So dope.
The shoebox.
So dope.
It was like a shoebox.
I was just like, this guy's a college kid
So
and he's
good.
pulling this off. That is amazing. And then the pictures are all amazing. I'm like, out of a shoebox. That's great.
Of
without
course.
focusing.
Exactly right.
Perfect.
Perfect
Lighting offset from the box.
Apparently, this is the best shoebox photographer in the history of the world.
Amazing.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's good shout out, Pat. I forgot about that scene.
Yeah, I think to your question, I think there was a question at some point. Like, I didn't like a lot of the movie.
Yeah.
But I found it pretty compelling at times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't stop watching it to go to sleep and then come back and watch it the next day. Let's just put it that way. I actually watched the whole thing through.
Yeah. Start to
Sorry,
finish.
Seven Samurais.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
And it's
Sorry, Nosferatu.
and I think again, like I like what it influences and what Lynch did basically with the same idea later with like Twin Peaks, which again
Right.
is this nice little town with this seedy underbelly.
Yeah.
Or, not even seedy underbelly, just people have dark sides and there's stuff you don't know under the surface. I like all that. It just was so
Makes it interesting.
harsh
Yeah.
and kind of, and I didn't.
Which also
even
made
Jeffrey
sure the
wasn't-
movie almost wasn't even made. I mean, people turned it down.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
said no. Actors, directors, producers, were like, nope,
Yeah.
thank you.
Did you see what actress he wanted to get instead of
Molly Ringwald?
No, for Isabella Rossellini's part.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
Please tell me you look this
Helen
up.
Mirren.
Helen Mirren.
she would have been good too.
Of course she would have, but it's just so different. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah. I was watching an interview with Isabella Rossellini about her part and how she's like, honestly, like, this deals with it in such a real way before most people ever dealt with.
Well, and this was her
Abuse to
breakout
women.
role.
Oh,
this
for
is how
sure.
she got away from being
Yeah,
a
she was a
model.
model actor.
Side
Even though
note-
her mother's Ingrid Bergman.
Exactly right.
I
Yeah.
mean, she
that's
had.
so bad.
Apparently, David Lynch at a dinner he had with her was like, when he was still trying to cast Helen Mirren, was like, you could be Ingrid Bergman's daughter. Like, just he didn't know.
That's so
funny.
good. Well, weren't they partners for a while too?
Right after this
Yeah,
movie,
after-
they
Oh my
were
gosh.
together.
That's some Stockholm syndrome right there.
Not one of his
Well,
3 or 4 wives, but they were partners.
just
for
partners.
A while.
Yeah.
I would. The other thing I guess I anticipated because of like the cover of the movie too, which is Isabella Rossellini kind of laying back in Kyle's
Oh,
arms.
totally
That it
different than
would
the
be-
yeah.
That it would be more, I don't know, titillating or something. But it was like all the sex stuff was
Uncomfortable.
really off-putting,
Yes.
Yeah.
uncomfortable, not romanticized like at
No.
all. Like it felt felt bad.
Yeah.
It didn't
But I think that was
glamorize it
intentional.
at all. And I was gonna say that's my favorite part is that the sex didn't feel like it was trying to be erotic in this. Well,
Yeah,
the,
it
you
wasn't
know what I
like
mean?
an
It wasn't
erotic thriller,
right, or like just like, oh, this is so cool or sexy or whatever. Like
Right.
this is
As soon as you even
awful.
started feeling like that uncomfortable, it got uncomfortable in that
the
now hit
other
me.
way. Yeah,
You know?
now hit me like,
Yes.
oh crap, and then he hits her, and I'm like, oh, this is next level of everyone feeling awful. I did like how they didn't make, other than Laura Dern's character and her dad, like they
Her
made
reaction when she kind of figured it all out was
pretty great.
not good.
That like
Not my favorite part.
Not my favorite acting.
No.
She's got an Oscar
I
though.
thought
She's fine.
she was amazing.
horrified. Yeah, until then.
Until that,
that.
Robert. I agree.
And
That-
then
I'm
but I appreciate it. Like that's the first time anyone was shocked about anything the whole movie.
right.
Found an ear,
Yeah, right.
no big deal.
But then she-
Naked woman,
But then
no
she,
big deal.
but then she talks to him on the phone and is like, "I forgive you, Jeffrey." Like, no,
Yeah, it was
it's
way
okay.
too quick.
Love you. Sorry, Seth, you were going to say something. I cut you off.
Oh, I don't even remember. It
not
was
important.
It's super
Moving
not
on.
important. But no, it was back to the point of like I like it's like nudity and sex is so used as like a commodity often in American like cinema and just advertising. It's so nice for the in a weird way of the realism and the hurt that goes into it, because often you have movies that are showing bad things, they still make it look too erotic but not awful. And this did a good job of, there was still erotic, quote unquote, but you never felt like that's where it was going. You didn't feel like this is the feelings I'm supposed to feel like. No, this feels awful and you feel bad for everyone involved. And that's great because because
And it shows it too.
Oh,
Him
it's
going
great.
home and crying in his room
and to take a model,
flashing back to everything.
it's the weirdest thing to think, like, as a male who's attracted to women, thinking this. I don't look at when she's in these nude scenes as something like a sexual thing, but more of like a.
No.
This is awful, and you feel bad, and there's
This
like,
lady is so
this
damaged.
Is so exactly
You're-
right. There's never, and so I thought David Lynch did a great job with that part. If you're going to be that brazen with the amount of nudity you showed, you did a good job to still make it feel awful, and
Yeah.
that was great.
Which-
I feel like maybe
which
like having
apparently-
her in her disheveled like robe, and then she takes her wig off for a little while, and you're always kind of like, she's not put together.
yeah.
You know she's beautiful. You know
Certainly.
she's attractive, but yeah, she's always like not all there.
Yeah, no, exactly right.
Apparently, there's a couple things inspired by David Lynch's childhood. One is apparently he found an ear
No,
in a back lot somewhere.
No.
That one I can't verify as
That's
well.
crazy.
But he and his brother walking home from school one day, and this like dazed, confused naked woman wandered out into the street. and they remembered, like, they went home and cried because it was clear
Sure.
something bad had happened to this woman, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like, ooh, a naked lady. And so it does feel like he captured,
Yes.
That
like, it was like
feeling.
he
Oh.
built a story leading up to how, like, why he would have seen someone in that situation, right?
Right.
And that way you're like, wow, as an auteur, like, I think you achieved exactly what you wanted. It just was not real pleasant. And again, I assume that was the point too. I don't think he was like, people are going to be so happy in these moments. It just,
Yeah.
it made it hard watch.
Okay, going to that same point, with the moment where they find her naked in the front yard, I love the fact that they never did a close up on her boyfriend. They always made him
Faceless Mike.
peripheral, faceless Mike. They gave him a little bit of a medium shot when he was on the fence as a football outfit.
But he had like a helmet on.
He had a helmet on, and then later he came up to fight him, and then like they saw them, and the guy's like, "Oh, this is too real for me. I'm
Yeah,
out."
I'm
Like,
so sorry.
oh,
Like,
is that your mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know this?
So good. I was like, oh my gosh, it was so. I was like,
You've got a lot more baggage than me getting mad at you about
you
dating my
got a lot
girlfriend.
going on
it
right now.
quickly, because it was like high school drama was just he just dealt with it as like it's so not important to what's really going on here. But so it took
with
away from that. Like,
also
yeah.
with Jeffrey and Sandy's mothers in the movie too.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
They're such kind of stoic characters the whole time. You know, they're just kind
Yeah.
of like, whatever, I'm on the couch. Like, his mom doesn't seem to care too much that the dad's in the hospital. Or even notice that he's out in the yard with the hose in his hand having a stroke or whatever he had. And then with Sandy's mom, when
She's
the
in
whole
watching violent shows on TV.
yeah,
You know?
and then
she's
Isabella
desensitized to all
Rossellini's
this.
like beaten up and naked in her front yard, and she's like, "Well, let's get her a coat."
Yeah.
You know, like
yeah, it almost
We
we
felt
should
though.
probably cover her up till somebody comes. Like,
Yeah,
no,
but
they show
not-
no emotion.
Not phased. That's what I'm saying. The only shock in the whole movie was Laura Dern being real shocked.
Well,
And then
and
over it in 5 minutes.
It was nice because it was like, oh, you do care, like, because there's always this like, we're not dating, but I like you sort of thing. So, yeah.
Except that they just said they love each other.
Yeah, what was that? That was way too quick for me. I was very upset when they started saying "I love you." I was like, "No, you don't.
You just got them
met,
saying you
and
have
you've
a
had-
boyfriend and you really
Oh.
love him. So
None
did you
of
say
this.
"I
You've
love you" to
been
your
on-
boyfriend in 5 minutes also? And then
Yeah, you've
Oh
been on
my
like
gosh.
2 dates.
Yeah, no,
I-
you're just
I
surrounded
was
by
disappointed.
robins all the time with the love. Are you showered with robins?
that's so good. But she is.
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so like the movie's clearly, you know, Lynchian in that there's weirdness stuff. You know, like they did some interesting sound things, like when
The curtains, the velvet curtains, the red
Hoppers.
curtains.
yeah, and Hopper's freaking out, and you go slow mo at times, and there's weird audio stuff. But did you feel like the movie kind of played everything straight, or did it all feel a little don't even remember where my question was going, but I'm trying.
Good. I'm like, I
understand
think you got lost
you
halfway
guys-
through. I don't know.
Yeah, if you guys or got the feeling that there was purposeful performance things or visuals outside of like the really obvious ones that made it all feel off, like that it wasn't like meant to be naturalistic, realistic.
Oh, for
start
sure.
to
Like
finish.
the back,
Does that make sense?
the filming from the back seat of the car. The
Right.
times when they're just driving down the road and having conversations, or just even sitting in the back seat of the car having conversation. I mean, it was very.
It felt like
I know he meant
90s
for you
yeah.
to feel. I think he meant for it to feel like just the two of them were the only people existing in those moments, and they're just getting to know each other. And then the, white picket fence down the street, and then I think he's definitely like was shooting a mood for each situation, and they were all very different. There was no continuity with the cinematography. I felt like.
Well, day and night. Like I feel like every
Right.
time it felt like you're shooting a '80s teen, like I always say John Hughes movie, but that's what it felt like. It felt like this is the movie,
Pretty
or
in Pink,
Pretty in Pink, or Pleasantville. You're shooting Pleasantville during the day, and then at night you're shooting a gangster movie.
Right.
Like it felt like it was this.
Yeah, it's like Leave It to Beaver and Sin City.
Exactly.
It's kind
Well,
of where we're.
That would be cool. That'd be dope if they went as far as Sin City did. That's some crazy.
But there were some
crazy visuals.
disturbing moments that
Oh,
you were
for
like,
sure.
all they needed was some really funny glasses with reflection, and you might have been there. But
Oh, it's so true. Yeah, so it was very hard because you had such hard feelings, and then you're going back to this like high school love story, and you go back and forth. And the part that was even harder is it wasn't their dark underbelly; it was just the underbelly of the town, because it's ruining him.
Yeah.
It always feels like he's growing up in seconds.
He's getting corrupted.
And then I got to call it Sandy, right? Sandy's character is proxy kind of, but not really. She's just kind of watching him because she's so interested with him that so it's very, I don't know how to feel about it.
she's not affected by the
No.
mystery that's happening. She's not being sucked into it. She's looking at it from like a purely detective.
Fascinating.
She's Nancy Drew, and
With a cute boy that she likes as the other detective. And it's very exciting.
He's becoming Donnie Brasco. Right?
Yeah.
Like he's,
There we go.
He's mixed up in it.
Yeah.
he's getting a little bit of a split personality,
So
and it's
Well, and
tormenting
that felt weird
him.
too, where he's both having this like dark,
Adult,
erotic adventure with Dorothy at night, and then at the day it's like, can I kiss you kind of vibe.
yeah.
I was
pretty
so upset
strange.
at him. I'm like, you're not the good guy anymore. You don't deserve to kiss Sandy. I was
Just because you still look clean cut
doesn't
does
mean
not mean
like you're literally having sex and hitting the woman who's got Stockholm syndrome, and then you're still kissing Sandy. Like I was like, I was so upset about that
argue
whole
pretty easily. He's like taking advantage of Dorothy.
Oh
and Sandy,
yeah,
right. Like both of them are in
totally
manipulative place.
Yeah.
I mean, less Sandy a little, but he's older. He's a college guy.
Mm-hmm.
It is weird, and he is not. I don't admire him. Like he was nice.
because at first you feel like he's Ferris Bueller or something. You feel like he's a Ferris
just
Bueller's character.
Ridiculously curious guy.
And I kept waiting for him to be the creeper. I kept waiting for him to be the one that's like the awful one or something.
Do you think we were made to think he was kind of dull, dumb? Like there's that
simple,
there's that
maybe
clear,
simple. Yeah.
Hey, the blind guy who worked at the place, like, how many fingers I'm holding out? And he's like 4.
Like,
and it's like,
I don't know how you do
I
it.
don't know how you
I
do that.
still can't figure it out. And you watch the guy
tapping
behind
his
him
shoulder
tapping
4
him.
times? Like,
yeah. We know.
And
We know how he did
sincere.
it.
I don't think he was you got me, like, I'm in on this joke. He didn't know. And it's
No.
like, oh, you're kind of dumb.
I just think it's David Lynch's painfully obvious he's innocent. And they're going to take him from innocent to not innocent.
Yeah,
He kind of,
right.
I think it's just
That's a
David
good way to-
Lynch's subtleties.
well, and down the
Like,
road, he
look at what a
turns him into
gullible
the,
Yeah.
fool this is.
right. And then 5 years later, he turns him into the same character, but he is a detective this time.
Yeah,
you
'cause-
know,
Yeah, he's wiser.
Gullibility
not a
is
lot wiser.
really innocence,
Yeah.
generally speaking. Yeah. Anyways,
He's
yeah.
diligent, I guess.
I guess. Okay, so I got a couple of ways to go. Pat, what are you thinking first before I go there?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to go left turn here. So the one thing I did like about this movie is that every character had a beer connected with them. And I thought that was so great. So as a podcast that started out comparing movies to beer, the one thing I did like about this movie, because I'll be honest, I didn't like this movie.
Just the one.
I didn't like it. It was too obvious with their themes. It was too rough to get the same message across. Although I did like the actress who had it the rough was, of course, Isabella Rossellini. She was all in, and she still liked that she was in the movie. So I am like, okay, if she liked the movie, like,
Well, and then she started dating the director.
yeah,
writer.
so she's probably a little. She probably had a little Stockholm syndrome from what she told him to do. He told her to do.
Yeah,
So.
it's like the whole Tim Burton, Helena Bonham
Exactly
Carter.
right.
Like, oh,
Or Johnny Depp and
this
Tim
guy
Burton.
is
They're still
super
dating.
Weird,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna follow him.
Exactly right.
Well, you know, Dennis
And be in all his
Hopper
movies, which
went
she did
full
too.
hog.
Oh, Dennis Hopper was amazing. So those two acting was like the best in the movie.
And
They were-
apparently
or the
this was
worst,
his,
depending on how
like-
you talk about
This
it.
was his like revival of his career movie, is what I read somewhere. I'm
Oh,
not sure like
interesting.
how powerful a career he had before it, but
I mean, he was an easy writer. That was not a
Right.
bad movie.
no, not bad.
Not
But I
too
think this
shabby.
was like his, and he was the biggest star in the movie at the time.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Because
yeah, of course.
Dune had come out, but it was a failure.
We gotta talk about Dune.
Huge
Yeah.
failure.
This wouldn't have happened without Dune. If Dune wasn't so bad, he wouldn't have gone back to this kind of like
Right.
film noir story. So back to the beers, guys. Come on, quit talking about the story.
Sorry,
we got
sorry.
beers. So obviously, the police officer was Budweiser, and then our boy, which I remember Heineken being the symbol of like fancy beers in the 80s and early 90s. I remember that thinking, oh,
It was the
Heineken's
pretentious
fancy.
beer at the
It was,
time.
which
I
is
mean, it looks nice.
oh, it
Yeah.
totally
Looks
does.
like it would be nice.
And then, of course, our man Dennis, Frank Booth himself, he said, "That's gross. PBR is better."
in
now,
in some different words.
in some different words, he basically said that. Off the cuff, I'm gonna have to say I'm a Frank Booth guy. Who knew
Yeah, I
that
would have-
PBR is way better?
I
Let's
would
be
have
honest. But in honor, I will try a little bit of all of them because I don't think I've had a Heineken, a Budweiser, or a PBR in a long, long time. So
Samesies.
while Pat goes on to our next topic, I'm going to enjoy some terrible beer here. In the meantime, we're also going to have
I
to.
don't know that I have an next time.
Oh, you don't have. Oh, the
Oh,
yeah,
some
go
fun
for it.
facts. I maybe have some. Fun
Oh, you
facts.
always have some fun at facts.
I love the fun facts.
Yeah, I mean, I peppered some already. The finding the ear and the naked lady being part of David Lynch's life.
That was a good one.
Did we recognize Aunt Barbara as the grandma from Happy Gilmore?
Yes.
Oh, immediately. That was like.
I was thinking
Wasn't
to
that-
myself,
wasn't that at the
boy,
light?
she was old
then
for a really long. Like she was one of those actresses. It's like
she's like Patrick
she was
Stewart.
just always old. Like
Yeah, always
Jessica
old.
Tandy was always old.
Okay, that's the first time I've had a Heineken in who knows how long. That is a.
Disgusting beer.
It's regular beer at the back end, like a regular cheap beer at the back end, but it does have a little weird bite in the front. That's a little
I
unusual.
recognize the aroma.
That's. I mean,
Whew.
I guess I'm going to go back also
Oh.
while you guys are drinking that because you reminded me. The
I'm glad we have
the
the
way
cameras.
Malt
Not
lager.
good.
Malt
Not
lager.
good.
It's not awful, but
when I already forget Kyle MacLachlan's character's name, Jeffrey.
Oh, okay, there
When
you go.
Jeffrey was talking about it, I was like, I love Heineken. Like, there's just a bunch of like dialogue stuff
Oh.
where you're like, people don't talk like this.
yeah.
People don't act like this. That was
I don't know.
kind of where I was getting to. Like, there's just people being a little off in David Lynch's stuff in a way that honestly I like a lot of the time.
I thought
Sure.
in Twin
Sure.
Peaks it's charming.
Yeah.
The lady that walks
And I
around with her
felt
log
like-
all the time, you know?
Yeah, I mean, wonderful. But there's just like
just wrote you off. Wonderful.
She
wonderful. No, I agree. Yeah, log lady, it's amazing. But they're just so strange that it's that. I mean, it is compelling, but in a way where I'm like, oh, this movie's not meant to be totally taken seriously.
Right. There's a little tongue in cheek. Mm-hmm. It's weird to have a tongue in cheek movie that goes so serious, though.
Yeah, it goes really both. I mean, it's polar opposites. So many.
Remember how we talked about a lot of some Asian movies like Thailand and China where they'll do like super goofy slapstick humor, and then like the next second has like horrible heart-wrenching scenes, and they're just together. And for me, as in my American cinema brain, like that doesn't go together. That's kind of how this movie felt a lot of the time. Obviously on purpose, but it was just sometimes I was like, nah, don't care for it, don't like it together.
Well, I wonder if with his, because he does like exploring both sides, if something about making the nice world a little weird, but treating like trauma and violence pretty seriously, like that's I don't know. I think there's something to setting
the
people up
fakeness of the light world, I think is nice. It feels fake. It feels like the fake fire truck, picket fence, guy watering the lawn by hand.
yeah, classic.
So all of that feels kind of campy.
Yeah.
Compared to the other realities.
With the horrible spray pattern that he's doing.
Obviously,
too.
that is not great.
It's
yeah.
not
It
efficient water.
But then on the other
I think he
side,
just didn't want to be inside with his wife.
that's fair.
She's watching another
When he's
murder
healthy-
show.
When he's healthy, he and the detective are way across the lawn, like as far away from the house as they can
Oh
be. from
yeah,
the wives.
they're like basically in the bushes in between the two houses. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I'm fine.
You're doing great, honey. No, but then on the other side, I felt like the evil, seedy underbelly was so overacted the other way too. Like it was just off the rocker. Like Dennis Hopper's character felt like, I don't even know. Like it was so. I'm like, wait, now you're putting lipstick on yourself.
Nick Cage-ish,
and now,
you know?
if there, yes,
Which he's in the next movie.
He is. By the way,
Isabella
Wild at Heart,
Rossellini and Laura Dern.
Laura Dern's in several movies by Mr. Lynch.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I need to watch that too. I'm kind of bummed that I was a Twin Peaks fan anyway, but then I seeing this now, I'm kind of like, I want to see, knowing that none of them are as disturbing as this, except maybe Eraserhead.
Right, his original.
Ooh, that baby.
Have you seen it?
I have not.
Have you seen?
No.
I've seen just a lot of clips of Eraserhead.
Okay.
But I've seen clips of that baby.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Oh, I don't want to see
boy.
it.
Now I'm curious.
Me too. Is it worse?
it's
Is it worse than Train Spotting?
Is it scary?
Yes.
Oh,
Not just disturbing,
It's
but
worse. It's so.
it's worse than the baby scene in Train Spotting.
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, it's so. I mean, it's not like the Train Spotting one is a little more horrifying because it was like realish.
Yeah.
This is like, what is this? I don't like it.
is there
That's fine.
jump scary? Is it like a good horror?
No. I mean, it's kind of similarly just very unsettling. Everybody's a little off. They're put in these odd situations, and metaphor for like not being ready for marriage and parenting, kind of, maybe. I don't know. You guys will have to watch it. Yeah,
Or I
haven't seen it
won't.
start to finish. I've just seen enough where I go, oh.
Yeah, I don't think I'll watch that.
I do like that Lynch has. It feels like he has goals, and he doesn't make these movies really for other people.
No.
Oh, that's
Because he does not defend. He doesn't go out and go, my movie's about this, that, and the other. He lets people take them for what they are, He doesn't like talking about them, and I appreciate that part of it. But I think
For sure.
in that lane, people like me aren't going to like everything.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine.
And I appreciate that he doesn't over-explain, because for one, the movie kind of over-explains itself.
He does
or
over-explain.
any of his movies. But then there's also so much more you can read into it. You know, like
here.
the whole Budweiser, King of Beers.
That's the king of beers.
The whole like
This is the police officer's beer.
Oedipus, you know, kind
Did
of
that?
and Freudian like undertones that people are reading into
that
it.
was not a good
that's
pour.
frothy.
That was just froth.
That's all froth.
Did it feel like he wanted to be a Budweiser man, but he just wasn't ready when he was like King of Beers? Like there was like an admiration for it. He's like, I'm just a college guy. I'm not ready for the big leagues. There was a little
I think
bit
it's
of that,
like I think it's like
I'm in Heineken land.
I'm about
and
to
I
find
could become
out.
a PBR man. I don't want to, but I
Yeah.
maybe want to become a Budweiser
yeah.
man.
Eventually, I'll be barbecuing in the yard, and I'll
Honestly,
be a Budweiser man.
I don't know what this. It doesn't have taste.
Nothing.
Budweiser?
No, it's not
Well,
even.
maybe you went the wrong direction. Like sometimes once you have,
yeah,
not great, you're
'cause
going to
this
ruin
one,
everything else.
This one is technically a malt lager, and this one,
Oh, this is
it doesn't taste like much.
water.
Yeah, it is.
You know who I felt was underused, and because he could have been a very unhinged character, was Brad Dourif.
Oh, for sure.
As
Goonies.
henchman number 4 or whatever he was,
Mm-hmm.
He
That's the guy
is
from Goonies,
normally
right?
so weird. Yeah.
Oh no.
He's just
Oh,
He's just like weird dude number whatever in everything.
oh, he's the guy that had the knife going up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, he had a
what else is
role,
in?
but he barely said anything.
He's in
But
Dune.
he is a
Exorcist 3,
a strange
Halloween the sequel.
man. Yeah, he's Worm Tongue in Lord of the Rings. You know,
Oh,
like he's
that's
he's a
right.
professional. He's a professional.
That's who I was thinking of.
Creep. Luther Lee Boggs from X Files.
Mm-hmm.
For all you X heads.
Nice.
Yeah.
Quick time out.
Anyway,
Hold
he was a
on.
little underused. And
Time out.
Okay.
Theodore's.
It's Dorothy.
Oh, it's Dorothy. Oh, Dorothy.
Audie.
Dottiloo.
Cut that.
Yeah, this is gross. I'm just gonna pour it in here.
Which one is that?
The Budweiser.
Budweiser?
Be disgusting.
You didn't like that one.
No, that's awful.
Not the King of
It's
Beers.
just flavorless. Ugh. At least Heineken has a flavor.
Where did you do PBR yet?
No, best for last.
Okay. PBR is fine, I think.
I drank it for
I don't
a
think
really
it's good,
long time.
but it's not.
Blood?
No, PBR.
Oh yeah, PBR is good. We'll see if I actually like it this time.
Huh?
Yeah.
Missed that.
What?
Missed whatever that
What?
was.
I finished mine.
Oh jeez.
Oh.
You poured it
You
out.
chugged it.
You liar. You couldn't even get through like the
Chug,
statement.
chug,
You started
chug.
cracking up like as you said it. That is so funny.
Oh, I'm all done.
I'd drink this on the golf course.
Would you?
Yeah.
If it was really, really, really cold and
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
and I was so hot and thirsty,
Yeah.
I would maybe drink it.
I actually
Sip
found
of
out
it.
I don't hate White Claws
They're delish.
because I got the blackberry one and it tastes like clearly Canadian.
Peach. There's a new peach flavor.
Whoa.
everyone.
Clearly Canadian is
Wow.
exactly how
I
it
don't know about
tasted.
that.
It does taste like clearly
it's
Canadian.
the
Not
blackberry.
sugar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's clearly Canadian, dude.
All right.
You don't know until you know, dude.
Those are good times.
You don't know until you know.
They're like Canadian days.
You can still get
You
them.
can judge all you want because I judged from moment one, and I didn't like any of them.
World market.
Yeah, but White Claw's cheaper.
It is, honestly.
Honestly, they're so expensive.
Clearly Canadians are like $2.70 or something a piece.
Well, you gotta
Crazy.
import them or whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy. And we're back.
That commercial break was brought to you by the King of Beers.
Bud. Why?
Wines. Did you guys think the Robin at the end was intentionally made to look really fake? As a symbol that, like,
That wasn't real.
yeah, you might think the Robin's, coming is a sign of good omens, but it's fake.
I
He's got
think
this bug in his mouth.
Is that your
I'm
dog in the
guessing he
background?
just didn't have
Nice.
a choice because there's like no way you can get a robin to just sit there with a bug in its mouth for that long. But yeah, it was real fake. But at 1986.
Honestly, at that point in the movie, you're already like just messed up from what you just watched. So you're like, whatever. It's a Robin. It's fine.
You're just so
Just get me
relieved
outta
that
here.
everyone's
Just
having a happy
get
ending.
me out of here. I don't care how messed up it is. I don't know what that kid's going to end up being when he grows up. But my goodness. Yeah. Come on, Pat. We'll make the symbolism happen if we got to force it down your bug-eating throats.
It felt like
Forced?
they could have done better. And because they like
could've.
lingered on it, like they had ant wranglers. Like you couldn't get a robin to do something. Like they literally had.
Oh, that's funny.
I just learned this. There's another fun fact. I guess I forgot this fun fact. Apparently, when you want ants, people will freeze the ants.
Oh.
And then thaw them, and so they're like docile, and so you can place them wherever they want because they wanted to have some ants on that ear at the beginning.
Right.
And so they put a little honey on it and put the ants on there. But they came frozen. You can apparently freeze ants, and they survive. So and you wrangle them. They didn't just go, hey, let's put honey down on here. And
here's the thing, listener. You think you're just getting a movie podcast? Oh, no. You are learning biology in this podcast.
I wonder if they did that
You're
for
learning.
Ant-Man. Did they do that for Ant-Man? Or
Is
was
that-
that all CG? They didn't have real ants?
Might have been.
Did
Might
they-
have been some CG.
I think they actually froze all the actors in Ant-Man for Quantumania. Yeah, that's actually how they figured out the plot. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, they kept them constrained in like a 40 by 40 volume, which showed a little bit. But anyway,
hold on.
Well, Finn
Hold
really
on.
liked
Hold
it.
on, guys. Okay.
Also, okay, as you crack that PBR, as we get into Frank Booth.
Frank
town,
Booth.
What was adult, honestly, Kyle MacLachlan, college student, doing in that lot? What was he throwing rocks at that he had to keep? Like, I got to really find a good rock for this. I couldn't figure that out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I always
I
thought
thought he
someone was
was-
going to live there or something.
I thought he was trying to hit the shack or the barrel at first, and then it zooms in
never
a
hit
little bit
anything.
later to something else, but he doesn't ever hit anything. He's
No.
terrible.
But he's like, I got to find like a really good rock.
He's a bad shot.
I couldn't figure out what that was for. Yeah, because it never got better. We never got
No.
close to like, oh, I hit this barrel. It just was bad throwing.
I think just accentuating the
How lame he was.
time he took looking around, and that's when he found the ear,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I know why,
but
but it felt so weird.
I wish he'd had a better aim.
All right. I think that brings us to the scoring
Oh, this movie.
of our beers.
Oh, it's not.
from our professional-
It's not really fair because PBR is kind of a hipster classic now. It's so much better.
It's the winner of the three.
It's so much better than the
Okay,
other
but what's
two.
well, I guess I know the rank. So we're going. You guys are leaning into CD Underworld, and
Hey,
then
if it's the only way I
not
can,
quite sure who we are.
if it's the only way I can get a decent
Middle.
beer, CD Underworld it is. You know,
Okay.
and calling PBR a decent beer is a bit of a stretch. But it was 1986.
It's a great beer for a budget.
And for 1986, I bet it was a great beer. There wasn't
Now,
that
do
options.
you think David Lynch likes PBR and but thought it was like too dangerous? Like, why would he have paired it with Frank Booth?
Because he doesn't drink beer and he has no idea, and he just goes by branding. Everything about those three beers was branding, not taste. I will just be bold and say it. David Lynch doesn't know his beer. At least he didn't in 1986.
But 1986 had limited options.
Very limited options. I'd probably be a Heineken if it was the 80s. I'll be honest.
I mean, what else was
I
there?
played tennis.
You
I'd
could
drive
have,
a
like,
white Beamer. It'd be
foreign
fine.
beers at the time. There would have been
The German
Kokanee,
German beers have been good.
Schlitz,
Yeah.
and
Malt liquor.
yeah, Old English.
So this movie, I keep thinking, is this the essential David Lynch movie? I don't know.
I'll tell you.
I think
I
some
think
of
the
the
essential
time.
David Lynch is go watch Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
I would totally agree with that because you get the same things. Because this movie just feels like it's trying to knock you over the head with messages, and there
Disturb you.
and at least it disturbs you in the right way. Like I always think about like there's rated R truth versus rated R lies. This is some good rated R truth.
Right. It doesn't glamorize,
doesn't
any of, like,
glamorize-
the mental illness,
No.
the abuse,
And so I
any of it.
appreciate that because that's way ahead of its time.
Right.
And frankly, even movies today wouldn't be able to treat the sexuality with the reality and harshness that it really is. I mean, there are some out there, but generally speaking, Hollywood does a better job of making it seem all erotic and stupid. So I appreciate it for that. But as a movie watcher, I'm like, I feel like you think we don't get subtleties at all by the way you're just hitting us over the head with these messages, this imaging. Although I appreciate the acting from Dennis Hopper and Rossellini. I thought they went all in. But man, no, I would go for a different movie for this one. Is it a good movie? Yeah, it's well done. It's well directed. It's unlike anything I've ever seen.
Right. I think 60% it's very David Lynch. And then the 40% was shock and awe, maybe.
Oh, interesting.
Like,
Yeah, for sure.
I really want people to just feel uncomfortable. But
Yeah.
I still, and it was nice to have all the Twin Peaks under my belt going into it because it felt really familiar at times.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
that was maybe more comforting through the disturbing moments, I guess. I liked it. I don't think I would watch it again knowing, but man, Dennis Hopper did a great job being a lunatic, and she did such a great job being disturbed and abused and, unhinged.
It was so refreshing. I watched an interview with her like in the last 20 years. Or last 10 years, I think. So just seeing her as an older woman, totally normal person. I was like, oh gosh, she really did a great job acting. Cause like,
She wasn't really like that.
I mean, she might be, I don't know, but like, it was just so cool to like see him like, oh yeah. So she fully grasps, cause she was even talking like how she likes to model more than she likes to act. Cause modeling takes 3 days of her time as opposed to 3 months of her time.
Right.
And she gets, and she's just like a normal person. She's like, oh no, I like modeling better because it helps with my schedule as a mom. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so normal. And your character was so unhinged. That's great. So yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I thought there was a ton of great stuff. Mostly acting. I think I liked everybody. There was some definitely odd choices and odd dialogue, but I thought everyone was charismatic, and it had that like, these characters are all very distinct and interesting, like very Lynchian in that way. But it just was not. I came out the other end like a little defeated versus like excited about cinema. But I think
that's a good.
I think he achieved what he set out to do.
For sure.
Right.
I think that's a good point right there. It didn't make me feel like this unlocked a key to a bunch of other movies. You know, like I watched Seven Samurai, it felt like, oh my goodness, I just figured out a whole freaking genre because of this movie.
Right.
And the same thing
This
with
movie just led you to more questions.
oh, it was so great. And this one's like, okay, this is rough, and I'm sure it's great.
Can I read a quote from him?
Oh, I can't wait.
This is from Wikipedia, the David Lynch Wikipedia, everyone.
Oh, nice.
It's a fact. My childhood was My childhood was elegant homes, tree-lined streets, the milkman, building backyard forts, droning airplanes, blue skies, picket fences, green grass, cherry trees. Middle America as it's supposed to be. But on the cherry tree, there's a pitch oozing out, some black, some yellow, and millions of red ants crawling all over it. I discovered that if one looks a little closer at this beautiful world, there are always red ants underneath. Because I grew up in a perfect world, other things were a contrast. Huh. That kind of explains a lot.
Yeah, it just sounds
it
just sounds to me like he's
he was really looking for some.
He like making it harder than he wants to shock and awe because he hasn't seen shock and awe in his own life.
Creating it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe his mom was watching those shows too.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, I would say as a connective tissue to other things we've talked about, this movie is considered neo-noir.
Yeah.
Yes, this is
noir.
I was about to
consider neo-noir.
I'm glad we're talking about this.
All right, go
on. Oh no, I didn't want to cut you off. Usually I just cut you off, so I didn't for that time. For once.
You know that, and then I have another factoid. Oh boy.
Okay. Oh wow, your autofocus is rolling, dude.
Yeah. It went a little crazy.
How much of this PBR have I been drinking? Because you look terrible.
Yeah, that's just 3 beer mix.
Yeah. Well, those 3, that makes sense.
It was the sampler.
The neo-noir is what made it even crazier to me for how left and right turn it went. Because when I think of anything noir, it's the dark seediness all the time. So when we went campy Pleasantville halfway through this neo-noir, I'm like, what's neo-noir even mean? Like, I was so confused by what's even going on. Because is it just trying to, like, break the convention of film noir?
But I think that's where the obviousness comes in.
Yeah.
Like, I know that this looks white picket fence, but you can tell by the way that fireman is waving at you.
Oh, it looks like stock footage.
Slow-mo going down the street. You're like, something dark is happening here.
Yeah. It's messed up. So yeah, that, connecting to our noir heritage. And then, obviously we just came off, John Ford, and David Lynch plays John Ford in The Fabelmans.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Gosh.
Nice job, Pat. Nice job.
Thank you.
There you go.
Do you think if we threw Bogart in this movie, would still play? No, Bogart would be Frank Booth. Would he? No, because he would be the Frank Booth character.
No,
he'd have to be. Who else would he be?
Would he be
the detective?
Sandy's dad? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Sandy's dad.
He would
give him a bigger part. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Oh. He'd be working the other side of the case. And then, Kyle MacLachlan would be,
and he'd be the dirty cop. He'd be the yellow guy. Maybe.
He'd probably be the that'd be actually kind of cool. The yellow man. That's hilariously.
Also,
Ronald McDonald.
Very, very Lynchian.
Yeah.
Of like, all right, then there's the yellow man, and then the well-dressed man, like giving everyone these archetype names.
Yeah, but that's
this is totally how a college kid would talk to a detective.
Well, and that's
100%.
very noir,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. By the way, I'm really glad Molly Ringwald didn't play Laura Dern's character.
Yeah.
Because then that would have been even more 80s teen movie-esque.
And it wouldn't have fit. It would have changed the whole vibe.
She, to me, bridged the gap between the pretty strange and the normal. Like, she felt so real until the shock scene. That, like...
Correct.
It kind of kept me grounded in the movie. Like, because Kyle MacLachlan's character started going... I mean, he's always a little odd in a way I enjoy.
Yeah.
You felt like the only person that's like, you're a real person surrounded by lunatics.
Yeah, for
really
sure.
Appreciated her performance.
Yeah, his character...
Yeah, so I don't know that
I just had the hardest time with his character because he felt like this 80s like pop star, like young guy main character role, but then he doesn't do anything good, really.
Yeah. When you kind of have this overlay of like creepy college guy messing around with a high schooler.
I did like.
Down stuff.
Yeah. That was
odd.
good. That was hard. I was saying I did like how he did still make sure he cared for Rossellini's character,
Dorothy.
Yeah.
despite instead of like pushing her away. So he still had like that gave him some honor in the horror. Like
Yeah, I don't think he was a bad
Yeah.
guy.
No.
per
Right.
se,
He
but
did
made
say,
bad
I don't
choices.
want to hit you a couple times. I was like, no, stop
No,
that.
I want to help you.
Yeah. Stop it.
Yeah.
oh, that's so crazy.
And then finally,
That was
But
rough.
I don't know. This is definitely one of those where I don't know that I would recommend it to a bunch of people. It feels snobby.
yeah.
Definitely feels snobby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
it,
not
it
in a,
does
like-
snobby. Not as
think
snobby
you
as
could
a
get-
Racerhead, though. Wouldn't a Racerhead be
No, that's
snobbier?
like a deep cut.
Yeah.
But I think that, it's in there. I mean, honestly, anything Lynchian isn't like mainstream.
No.
Like this is more mainstream than some. But like,
We should
I
watch
mean, how many people do you know that even watched all of Twin Peaks? Like, probably not that many. So,
Yeah, for sure.
and that's a popular one.
That's a good point.
Definitely.
I mean, I watch Dune every year, so no, that's not. I couldn't get through it once. I don't know how.
He also did The Elephant Man.
He did do the Elephant Man.
Yeah, that's actually probably the most mainstream, even though that's pretty weird. But it had
Yeah,
Anthony Hopkins and John Hurt in it, so
yeah, I did. I mean,
hard to go wrong.
he did direct Duran Duran Unstaged, so you got that going for you,
Ooh.
right? I'd watch that.
Yeah, he also
Yeah.
has a discography, not just a filmography.
He is, I think he's a musician, a painter. I saw something
He's
where
an
he
artist.
he would make furniture for some of his movies or some such thing. I don't know. He's an artiste.
Oh, yeah. I'd be curious to know how much of like even in this movie too, there's some stuff that kind of, I mean, it was a vibe that he,
It is
It is
crazy.
loves.
He's older than our parents.
The curtains. Yeah, he's 77, I
It's
believe.
crazy.
That's old.
That's old.
Pretty old. No offense, old
Yeah.
listeners.
Okay, so this is the question I have for you guys. We've now identified the 3 beers for 1986 characters.
Standards.
What is your beer that identifies your character? Booyah.
My character?
My character?
Yeah.
And this is for the listeners. You're not asking us, right?
Oh no, I'm
Uh,
asking for you.
Gilmer?
Yeah, well, it could be like a general. What is your
I'm
beer?
an IPA guy. That's what I'd say in a club at night to somebody.
Stop.
Be like, I like this IPA. And lately, it's been Bodhisattva.
I like
Oh,
that, Pat.
It's a good beer.
I only drink
By
it at your
Georgetown Brewing.
house, but I
That's
like
not bad.
it.
Mariah, what's
So
your beer?
that would be my beer.
Why don't you just blow air into this?
Mine didn't have any foam. It's
Look,
weird.
listener, watcher,
Half foam.
Half foam.
have these.
All right.
Pours are hard.
What personally that speaks to me, not what I was drinking in 1986
When
right?
you were in
I
your
hope.
20s.
when I was 7 or in my 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the fun thing about this movie is like they have these everything's so obvious, but then they even have like beer brands. Like it's almost like, oh, you're a Coke, you're a Pepsi.
I did kind of love how weird that was.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
that's
was
the thing with
super-
Lynch. You're like, I'm kind of excited about this odd
Yeah.
choice you put in this
I
movie.
thought that was pretty
Yeah.
good. So okay, so I feel like we should each have a beer that represents us on the podcast.
I'm a Breakside or a Crux. I don't know which.
Another IPA, huh?
Both IPA, yeah.
Yeah. So I should be the grounded. Am I the Guinness? Am I the Guinness, or am I the
Are
Black
you the
Beer
Guinness
Porter?
because you're watching your cows?
I am. Guinness has low calories, by the way, for all those listeners. You're welcome.
Not
for your
worth
advice.
it.
Does it?
Yeah, because it's
IPAs
low
have
ABV,
The highest.
high ABV,
Such a bummer.
low ABV.
I need all that energy. To,
It explains
You
a
need
lot
those
about
calories.
my life that I picked up.
I'll say I was gonna say
I got
I'm
Scallery ones.
more of a Black Butte Porter. Like, I try to be like cool Oregon microbrew, but really it's not very much of a microbrew anymore. Everyone drinks it.
It's like the Heineken of
Whoa, that is
the
blasphemy.
2020.
Whoa, that is blasphemy. It's still a porter. Two IPA drinkers over here. You guys are the pumpkin spice lattes of beers. Jeez Louise.
Wow.
Okay, I got
I take offense to that.
two Karens over here telling me that my Black Butte Porter is too mainstream. Jeez
Okay.
Louise.
All right. Now I'm an RPM.
course.
I'm an RPM.
There we go. At least that's something else. If you guys said like a Pilsner, that'd be legit. Something that's not like normal. Dead Guy's a little too obvious, I suppose, for Oregon beers. But anyways. All right. This has been a weird journey, guys. I'm not going to lie.
It was a weird one.
I don't know if
I'm
it's
still
No,
not
it's
sure
harder.
that we explained the plot.
No, who cares? Don't watch
Oh,
it.
no.
Don't watch it.
If you want to be interested,
You
confused,
can.
and disturbed for a good
just
couple of
know
hours,
it's super obvious and disturbing, but it's somehow snobby. I don't know. Those usually don't go
good.
together.
it's good and hard at the same time.
Well, I think it had a point of view, it touches on like voyeurism and like wanting to witness darkness but not being a part of it, and what is
can't.
that even as a
The-
film viewer?
Ooh, that's a good take,
there's-
Pat.
The
There's a
seen and
bunch
the
of-
unseen of the human
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
experience.
You can't want to witness something and not be drawn in to be part of it. You're going to be affected just by watching it. And that's a great moral of the story, by the way.
I think one of the things I liked least was all the symbolism with the insects. I mean,
You just don't like
I'm
bugs.
not a fan of the bug. And the fact that the bug kept coming back.
Yep.
It wasn't flying ones.
Did it
though,
bug you?
So it bugged me.
Boo.
I also didn't love seeing a close up of Kyle MacLachlan's ear at the end.
No.
That to
Just
me
kind of
the,
unpleasant. The ear is
the
not
ear was the
unpleasant.
most disturbing thing for me, for
Well,
sure.
and I was confused about
except
the-
for the horrible
I
sex
was
stuff.
confused about the moldy severed ear at the beginning. Like, do they mold in those patches, or is that just the honey had sat on it long enough?
It was
I think
discoloration.
that was
Smell
Who
relax,
knows?
who knows?
I want to know how it actually ages out there.
Yeah.
Well, that was a latex ear, so it wouldn't age really at all. Apparently, that was called mystery ear. I got another
It's like
fun
the
fact. One
mayonnaise
last
of
one.
ears.
Ooh. Go for it, Pat.
They referred to the ear as Mr. Ear. It was a second round of ears made. The first round apparently was done by the effects artist, and David Lynch was like, I like these. We should do them in adult size. And he's like, those are my ears. And he's like, you have incredibly small ears. So they made bigger ones. I modeled after one of the producers, and they referred to him as Mr. Ear. And it had the hairs in it were actually David Lynch's hairs. He got a haircut during the course, and they punched him in.
I
So
love
Mr.
that
Ear-
he does stuff like that. I love it. He's
Mr. Ear is a character.
So weird.
so weird. I
yeah.
like it.
That's my last fact.
Why
No more.
isn't there a documentary about him
Okay.
Probably is.
There probably is.
that I haven't seen?
Okay. Is this the worst movie we've seen so far in How to Be a Movie Snob?
No.
No. Is it still Nosferatu?
Do you like this more than Barry Lyndon? Or
Yes.
what was your least favorite movie?
Oh, I like
You liked it
I
more
like
than Barry.
Barry Lyndon more than this.
No.
And Barry Lyndon was long.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
This
What about
was better
Nosferatu?
than-
I like this more than Nosferatu, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Nosferatu was hard.
It was.
This is
it's-
very watchable. It just
Yeah.
wasn't enjoyable the whole way. If that makes any sense.
And there's a good different. Well, Schindler's List is very
Yeah, just
watchable.
because you're
it's not enjoyable.
uncomfortable
Yeah,
doesn't
exactly
mean
right.
it's not a good
Exactly right.
storytelling.
Tough subject matter,
Right.
but
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
it
it
was,
was-
at least a story.
Police Academy 4. I mean, it's not an easy watch, but
No, but worth it.
That Mission to Moscow, which one's that one?
I don't remember.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
All right.
Which
we
are,
gotta get out of
are
here.
all the fours like the Russian ones? Rocky 4, they go to Russia.
Back to
Back
basics.
back to,
Was that back to basics? I think that might
and
be
that's back
three.
to basics. Yeah.
Is it back to basics?
That's
I don't know.
impressive.
Should I know
Avoid-
this?
That's impressive.
avoid
I don't know.
home.
Okay, we got to
New
end
York.
now.
So
Definitely got to end that. Okay. And then on other notes, guys, thanks for being with us this week for Doozy. We are going all over the board with this one, but it's been amazing to see how messages can be brought to us in so many ways. And hey, you know what, David Lynch? You be you, and we'll probably still keep watching. So this has been another step to become closer to become a movie snob. Thanks for being with us. This is Seth.
Mariah.
Patrick.
And we're signing off on How to Be a Movie Snob. Take care, guys.
Good evening.
Good night.
Bye.
And good morning.